On July 20th, 2012, in Aurora, Colorado, just miles away from where the Columbine shootings took place in 1999, 70 people were shot or wounded in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. 10 victims died on location, and 2 later died at local hospitals. Many people began to notice discrepancies on the information being released by the media, and just as many tragic instances in the past, details and facts were simply not adding up, and several questions remained unanswered and seemingly ignored by those reporting on the act of violence. Although as of today's date, August 10th, the case is still under investigation, it is important to look into what happened and provide some sort of explanation to try and answer some of the many questions the public are still wondering about, and present several facts that are not being looked at by the media and will likely not be brought up during the court proceedings of this case.
I need a marked car behind the theater, stable side. Got a suspect in a gas mask. Show 9.
Show 9, okay, and we need cars south side. Suspect in a gas mask.
11, hold the air 1 second. Cars with that white car in the rear of the lot. Is that a suspect? Yes, we got rifles, gas masks. He's detained right now. I've got an open door going into the theater. Okay, hold that position. Hold your suspect.
Great, Cruiser 49, all cars coming and set up a perimeter around the entire mall. Set up a perimeter around the entire mall. All cars do not need to go into the movie theater.
Copy of units responding in. Just set up the perimeter around the entire mall.
321, one of the shooters might be wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
Copy, outstanding. Shooter possibly wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
Let me go back quickly to Corbin Gates. Was there 1 or 2 people involved in this? I've heard that you believe there might have been 2, not just 1.
I couldn't speculate, but the way from what I saw prior, before the gunman walking in, acted out, it seemed like there was 2. But I couldn't speculate because I did not know what happened after that door had shut before it swung back open.
I think you told one of our producers that the person you saw going out of the theater to get and come back, whoever came back in, the one who went out had a goatee.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's correct, yeah. Prior to the movie even starting, when I came and got my seat at the theater, a guy walked in into the auditorium after me, sat into the very first right row, and got a phone call, took his phone call towards the emergency exit, not the lobby, and had his foot propped open by the door. It seemed like he was making gestures of trying to find somebody or trying to have somebody come to his location to where he currently was. After that, I had already stepped out of the auditorium to bring my friend in, and when we came back, the movie was just starting, lights were dimming, and that door had been closed.
And you testified to all this in court?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Corbin Gates, I'm glad you got through.
Nobody knows who it was, but they had shotguns.
Now that we have listened to several testimonies stating that there was more than one suspect, we should consider the evidence that can prove the fact that there was more than one person involved in the Aurora shooting. We can be sure that there were several video cameras at the Century 16 theater as well. This video evidence should display the suspect or suspects entering the theater as well as the crimes committed. There are always several cameras inside and outside at a movie theater. However, this evidence has not yet been discussed and likely will not be used during the trial. When asked about this evidence and how James or the suspects entered the theater, authorities have simply ignored the question or stated that they do not have that information. Here's the proof.
With that, I will take a modest number of questions. We are not speculating on motive.
Chief, can you walk us through the timeline of this? When it inside the theater?
Okay, let's do one at a time.
How did he get inside the theater?
That is under investigation. I will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door. That's not something we would discuss in this setting. One more question. Yes, sir.
We had a witness tell us that he saw a suspicious person in the front aisle that was lingering near the exit where the shooter came in. And I'm wondering if you looked into that, because you said you believe he acted alone. So is that something you don't think played a part in allowing him to get in?
We have information as to what occurred in the theater based on the roughly 200 interviews that we have made. And we have ballistic evidence inside that suggests how the shooting went down, but we have so much investigation to do, and that's the kind of evidence for a prosecution, not for a discussion at this time.
Are there cameras on those evaluation of the shooter?
That door, you couldn't access that door from the outside. It has to be open from the inside.
We're not prepared to discuss any theories about how he got in there with the weapons, but we will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door.
Are there cameras in those theaters? How long did the entire thing last? If you got 911 calls starting at 12:39.
We know there are a lot of rounds fired very rapidly. We know we were there within about 1.5 to 2 minutes from when we were called. Now, in an event like that, you know, we can surmise how much time it takes for someone in that traumatic event to call 911 and get through and dispatch to us. That will all be looked into. I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, folks.
This video has several curious aspects to it that are worth taking a look at in greater detail. Not only is the question about the security cameras avoided not once, but twice during the questioning, but the reactions of the FBI agent standing behind Aurora Police Chief Dan Oates is also worth taking another look at. It is quite obvious that they're avoiding the most important questions being asked.
And that's the kind of evidence for a prosecution, not for a discussion at this time.
Are there cameras on those evaluation of the shooter?
That door, you couldn't access that door from the outside. It has to be open from the inside.
We're not prepared to discuss any theories about how he got in there with the weapons, but we will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door.
Are there cameras in those theaters? How long did the entire thing last? If you got 911 calls.
We're going to look at this debate from two angles. Tonight, part one, the questions the national media aren't asking. I don't need to go into a lot of details on the shooting because most every American is familiar with the basics. Police say 24-year-old James Holmes went into that theater in Aurora, Colorado. He was dressed in black, wearing a tactical helmet, vest, and leggings, as well as throat and groin protectors. Police say Holmes used an AR-15 assault rifle, a Remington shotgun, and a .40 caliber Glock handgun during that attack. And police say they found a second .40 caliber Glock inside of his car. The question being asked, how could he be allowed to buy those guns legally in Colorado? The question not being asked, how does an unemployed graduate student afford to buy them? Look, a decent AR-15 rifle costs $1,000 or more all by itself. The shotgun and the two handguns would easily run another $1,000 total. Spare mags, sights, slings, and so on, you're going to run another $1,000 across those three firearms. The bulletproof vest, that's easily another $800. And then you have all the money spent on bomb-making materials. Which brings us to our next question. As you know, police say that Holmes rigged his apartment with an incredibly complicated maze of fire bombs. But on the day he was arrested, he immediately told police about the bombs. Why? So our second question, where did this graduate student in neuroscience learn how to make a series of bombs so complicated that the FBI took 2 days to figure out how to disarm them? One official said the intricacy of these bombs is something rarely seen outside of war zones. He had a tripwire set behind the door to kill anyone who opened it. And yet, after setting this intricate death trap, decides to warn police about it before someone's killed? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Neither does what police are saying about this being a lone wolf attack.
All the evidence we have, every single indicator is that this is all Mr. Holmes' activity and that he wasn't particularly aided by anyone else.
But is that true? Eyewitness reports from the scene indicate that Holmes got a phone call from someone inside the theater, and also that tear gas was thrown from more than one location.
He got a phone call, and most people, when they get phone calls in theaters, they go straight out into the lobby to answer it. This person went directly to the emergency exit. He had his foot propped open by the door, and from the crack, it looked like he was signaling somebody or looking for somebody to come his way.
As I was sitting down to get my seat, I noticed that a person came up to the front row, to the front right, sat down, and as credits were going, I know it seemed like he got a phone call. So he went out towards the emergency exit doorway, which I thought was unusual, to take a phone call.
So what you need to know is that there are so many questions about what really happened in Colorado. Questions we don't have answers to, and we may never have answers to. What is unfortunate is that instead of really digging into why this apartment would be rigged to kill, but then Holmes would then warn police and then lawyer up and not say anything else, where he got the funding and the firearms training, and these eyewitness reports that there was more than one person, instead of asking those questions, national media want to focus all their attention on why guns were legal in the first place. National media seems too busy playing the political game, not busy enough looking into what really happened. And that is Reality Check.